Hello, beautiful souls. I thought I would put a video together for all of you to give you the key takeaways for each astrological house, as I'm sure many of you are wondering what they are and how to use them. There are many ways to explain what a house in astrology is. I think of each house as an area of life. This is because as we go through the rest of this video, you'll see how each house designates certain areas of life, such as self, finances, communication, relationships, spirituality, etc., that can provide more specific information as just reading the zodiac signs and aspects alone. For example, if a chart had the sun in Pisces, we could say that that person has a sensitive soul, they are compassionate and creative, dictating other components of their chart, of course. Well, now let's say that the sun is in Pisces in the 7th house, the house of relationships. We could say that person cares about his or her relationships and may have a significant other that embodies these same traits and or works in mental health, etc., dictating other components of the chart. And not to exclude the sun not being very happy in the 7th house because it's considered in fall in Libra, but that's for another video. As you can see, the houses add more light to the birth chart by providing us which area of life we are looking at. So, let's get started with the first house. The first house, as indicated on the chart on the right, is Aries' house and embodies some of its characteristics. The first house is the house of self, which is a segue to why it can also be considered the house of where the ego forms. It's also the house of first impressions, or what people first see when they meet a person. The first house can also indicate one's temperament and physical appearance based upon which zodiac sign it's stationed in. It's also the house of beginnings, fresh starts, and the physical world. Okay, that's as brief as I'd like to get for this portion of the video. Let's move on to the second house. The second house is Taurus' house and has some of its characteristic traits. It is the house of resources, both inner and outer, possessions, and property. It's also the house of one's self-worth, which can also carry over to finances, values, and creativity. The third house is Gemini's house and embodies some of its characteristic traits. It's the house of communication, learning, especially childhood learning, and mental inclination. It's also the house of transportation and local travel, along with siblings. The fourth house is Cancer's house and has many of its characteristics. It's the house of home, roots, ancestry, and the motherly figure. It's also the house of comfort, happiness, and emotional security, as indicated by how a person's upbringing and childhood was or is. The fifth house is Leo's house and embodies some of its characteristic traits. It's the house of creativity, romance, hobbies, and pastimes. It's also the house of children and how one's dynamic between them and children is. The sixth house is Virgo's house and has many of its characteristics. It's the house of health and wellness and daily routines, which is a segue to one's job dynamic. It's also the house of caretaking or serving others, enemies that are known to a person, and the dynamic between pets and a person. The seventh house is Libra's house and embodies some of its characteristic traits. It's the house of relationships, partnerships, and contracts such as signing a contract for a business, house, vehicle, etc. It's also the house of the spouse and what one looks for in a significant other. The eighth house is Scorpio's house and has many of its characteristics. It's the house of death, rebirth, and major life transformations. It's also the house of the occult and things considered taboo. Astrology can fall under this house. Like Scorpio, it also indicates one's dynamic with secrets. The ninth house is Sagittarius the Centaur's house and embodies some of its characteristic traits. It's the house of philosophy, which can also involve religious views. Unlike the third house, it's the house of adult learning and not childhood learning, and is the house of long-distance travel, not local travel. It can also indicate the attributes of the fatherly figure. The 10th house is Capricorn's house and has many of its characteristics. It's the house of career, reputation, and the attributes of one's legacy they will leave after this lifetime. The 11th house is Aquarius the water bearer's house. It's the house of friends and acquaintances. It's also the house of activism, especially for humanitarian ideals. It's the house of social groups and/or clubs, which also includes social media, and one's dynamic with these areas. It's also the house of gains and the dynamic between one and gaining abundance during this lifetime. The 12th house is Pisces house. It's the house of spiritualism and dreams. It's also the house of unknown enemies, unlike the 6th house, which is the house of known enemies. Also, unlike the 11th house, the 12th house is the house of loss, or where how one loses his or herself. Lastly, it's the house of endings, as it represents going all the way around the wheel, back to the first house of beginnings. I want to thank you for watching this video on the astrological houses, and hope you found it to be beneficial. I also hope you have a blessed day. Namaste.